Hi, everyone. We are live again. Just a reminder, you are listening to 17 for 17, which is a virtual event advocating for girls' education. I'm hosting this virtual event to celebrate my 17th birthday with 17 speakers from around the world who are going to share with us why girls' education is so important and how you can advocate for girls' education as well. So I am super, super excited to present Kavya and Dr. Taniya. Together, they're going to be talking about the role of mentorship in advancing girls' education, and specifically the role of mentorship in technology. And so I really hope you are all as excited to hear them speak. Their session, which I think is one of the coolest names of the day, is a heart-to-heart between a mentor and a mentee. And so I hope you enjoy as much as I will.
Hi, Kavya.
Hi, Kavya. All right. I think we can hear each other. So first, I just want to say thank you, Jana, for inviting us to participate in your 17th birthday event. This is very exciting. I have known you for the last 4 years and seen you grow in ability and confidence into just an inspiring young lady. And I am so delighted to be here and excited to speak to Kavya. What is fantastic is that I have been meaning to have a chat with Kavya for the last few months, really, and now I get to have a chat with her and many new friends. So this is really exciting. Everyone, my name is Dr. Taniya Mishra, and I am Director of AI Research at Affectiva. What that means is I get to have the fun job of working with fantastic AI researchers, engineers, technologists, building up AI solutions that can consider our emotional states, our cognitive states in making decisions about how and when to interact with us. It's a really exciting line of work. But what is even more satisfying in what I do is being able to mentor young people like Kavya, like many of you in the audience, in AI and technology, and watch you build up new skills and grow in confidence and faith in yourselves. So I will let Kavya introduce herself and give you a little bit of the backstory of how we know each other.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm Kavya Anbarasu for everyone, and I'm a high school student in Sharon High School. So that's a town close to Boston. And I'm very passionate about trying to make sure that girls have access to education in terms of technology and computer science. And while I'm not nearly as far along as Taniya in the journey, she's definitely been a really inspiring mentor and someone that I really look up to. And I hope that I can end up impacting just as many people as Taniya has. So a little bit about how we know each other. Taniya was actually my mentor at Affectiva. And that's where we started building some cool projects together. This past year, we actually worked on a research project about how the impact of a conversational agent can boost a driver's performance. And it was a really challenging study. And so it was really helpful to have Taniya along with 2 other great mentors there to help me work that out. And so over the past couple of months, our relationship has evolved from that straight mentorship to a more informal one where we were working on research papers, and most recently where we had a conversation about so that Taniya could write me recommendation letters on my journey to go into college.
Yeah, it has been fantastic knowing you for about a year at this point. I remember our first conversation, and I was just inspired by what a powerhouse you were, how many dreams you had, and you were undaunted by the fact that there were many things that you had to learn. And I was happy to, help you along the way, help build up some of those skills, and actually learn from you in the process. So mentoring has just been such an important part of my life. I have been doing it for 10 years at this point. Actually, this is my 11th year mentoring young students anywhere between the ages of 16 and I think 28 or 29. And I think every summer I mentor a group of people, and I feel like I learn as much from you as I teach each of you. And so it's been a very rewarding part of my career. But even my career, how I got started in this path was because of mentors. So I'll tell you a little story. Unlike most of you who are probably watching us today, I actually hadn't ever even handled a computer until I was 20 years old. I didn't know how to type, much less code. Yet it was because of the inspiration, encouragement of a mentor of mine who was the head of the computer science department at my university that I pursued computer science. And a year later, I even applied for a intern position at the Mayo Clinic, which is arguably one of the world's best hospitals. And I vividly remember actually going for that interview. I was wearing my best homemade, suit from India, because back then, was about 20 years ago, you had to dress a little more formally when you went for your interviews. And I remember sitting in the waiting room waiting for my interview, and I felt really uncomfortable. But my mentor's voice kept ringing, in my ears, where she said, you can do this. You know the material. You just have to go tell them you have to show them what you know, and you have to tell them your dreams. And I walked into that interview and did just that. And another person, this time a gentleman, took a chance on me, took a chance on a kid who really only had about 9 months worth of computing under her belt, but lots of big dreams. And that internship changed the trajectory of my life. I wouldn't be where I am. I would not be working in AI if through that internship I didn't see how technology could, help me make an impact on people's lives. So I feel like now is my turn to pay it forward. It's my responsibility to hold the door open for young people like you, Kavya.
Yeah, and you definitely have. In my own mentorship, I know that you were always there to believe in me, even when I was I don't know if this will work, and you were there to push us forward and make sure that we had confidence in ourselves to keep going and keep dreaming big to build something really cool in the end. Actually, speaking about mentorship itself, I've seen the impact of it at my own high school, because in my high school there are many programming classes, but often there's not that many people that sign up for these classes in terms of girls. So when I was a freshman in high school, I was the only girl in this programming to Python class. And so after one class, I went to my teacher and I was like, I don't feel really comfortable here. There isn't anyone that I can talk to. And she was like, yeah, we should do something to change that. And so together we actually started a Girls Who Code club. And it was actually really amazing to see that even though in that computer science class that where there were 20 students and only one of them was a girl, there were over 25 people that came to those club meetings when they found a like-minded community that can support them and mentors that were available for them through that community. So it was really impactful for me to see just how much a mentor can do to bring interest and to bring other people into the field. And yeah, it was after that experience that my mom was like, you've been spending a lot of time doing computer science. You should try to look for some real world applications, which is actually how I ended up at Affectiva.
So it's been about a year actually at this point that you were at Affectiva. And when you look back, so do you think like there was some kind of aha moment during your internship? Was there something that, was a realization or a surprise, hopefully a good one? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so I mean, looking back at that internship, I remember that like especially like the first 2 to 3 weeks, I was going through like research papers and I was going through watching videos to build a demo, like to build a real world study demo and writing code, but I wasn't really sure what the end product would be or how all of this would come together just because to me it was the first time that I was doing all of that and I had no idea where it was going. But then I remember the first day that we actually launched the study and everything came together and people were coming in to participate and they were like, wow, this is something that I can really see that my friend would need. And I was that was in that moment I was like, this internship has really helped me build something that people want to use and that people can think is like powerful. And I think that was probably when I was like, wow, this is super cool.
So like you felt like you were able to see the impact of your work on other people and how it could positively like change their lives.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's when, work, and that's why really these internships, these sort of, work placements or hands-on projects are so important because they take something that is like a little more theoretical, like it, what you might be learning in your classrooms and your clubs and make them so real, right? You can it becomes very tangible. It becomes something that has an impact on someone else. What would you say were beyond the technical skills, what were some of the other more professional or career related skills that you learned?
Yeah, actually, when we're talking about soft skills, I actually have one really vivid memory of the Affectiva summit. When we were there, it was after the summit and it was just time to network, but I was just sitting there eating food and you came up to me and you were like, no, you have to go talk to these people. You should, and you introduced me to some really great researchers and like leading people in the field. And you were like, you should talk to them and build relationships with them now. And I think that's probably the biggest skill that I took away. Being able to network and meet other people like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about interrupting your eating, but I just felt like that was so, like networking is so important for really all of us to learn, but especially for women. And this was not something that I learned for, a long time. And I remember even as a grad student, I finished undergrad, I was in grad school, and I would go to these conferences and I was fine at presenting my work. I was great at listening to other people give talks, really taking in the material. But the problem happened during the coffee breaks, right? I never knew what to do with myself during the coffee breaks. I was so nervous about, quote unquote networking that I literally hid in the bathrooms. I would be looking at my watch, is it time? Is the coffee break over? Because I think the feeling was, I felt like it was so self-promoting and people are going to, feel like, I'm too big for my britches in a way, like I'm walking up to researchers and just trying to, insert myself in their conversation. And I think I was just really uncomfortable with networking. And it was actually one of my mentors, again, a female mentor, who showed me that networking is nothing but relationships. She kind of changed my mindset about it. She changed how I viewed it. It's just getting to know people. It's being interested in their work. It's, giving them, sort of acknowledgement for the amazing work they have done and sharing your ideas. And we as women, we are actually really good at building relationships. But as soon as you give this relationship a new name called networking, we're just really uncomfortable with it. But the shift in mindset, it made it so easy. And I felt like then I could just walk up to anyone and talk to them about their work. And it was, some of these relationships, whether it was in person or even virtually, that helped me, in my career, it helped me in landing my, future jobs. Like my job at Affectiva actually came from a single email that I sent to Rana El-Kaloubi, who is the CEO of Affectiva and also Jana's mom. And I just sent her an email and I said, hey, you work in understanding emotions from face. I work in understanding emotions from voice. I would love to be able to collaborate with you. And as she likes to say, not only did we collaborate, she said, invited me in to come, lead the entire effort. So, and it all came from, taking that slightly uncomfortable step of networking, of sending an email out, and just telling people that you love what they do and you would like to do it with them. But because I learned it so late in my career and had to spend all these years feeling uncomfortable and hiding in bathrooms when I could have been building relationships, now I feel like every young person that I mentor, and sometimes even just young person that I meet, I just say, go talk to people, like, eat later. So I actually had a feeling that you would tell this story as soon as I asked you about non-technical skills. So, but building off of this, you've learned, many technical skills and, several non-technical but really important professional skills. How did you post-Affectiva parlay it into the next steps of your educational journey?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of educational journey, I think this fall I'm going to be studying at MIT. And so I'm going to be taking these skills with me and trying to reach out to as many professors as I can to try to get in with like the undergraduate research opportunities. Actually, because of like what you taught me with networking, I actually already did reach out to someone. And so I'm really excited for the opportunity to work in another lab-like setting when I go onto campus next year. And at MIT, I think I'm going to be looking forward to studying computer science along with either biology or psychology, something to supplement what I'm learning. Yeah. So now, before we end, I have like one last question for you. What do you think is like the best part of being a woman in the tech industry right now?
Yeah, so I mean, being in the tech industry in general is right now, it's really exciting. We are kind of at the cusp of what AI can do to really transform our lives for the better. I'm an optimist. AI is a set of tools that can have, really positive transformative effects, or it can have some risks. And it is actually incumbent on all of us to work together to really maximize those positive benefits. But that means that as a woman, I get to represent, my concerns of people like me who are women, people of color, first-generation Americans, parents, mom of a special needs child. I get to represent those views, those needs, those concerns, and those perspectives. And but even more importantly, I see my job as being in tech as also creating processes to bring more people into the tent. And that's again why we mentor, and that's why we want to include more people. I want to say to everyone who's listening today that, I hope you are dreaming big, impossible dreams, and you are looking for new skills that can help you realize those skills. And most importantly, you're raising your hand and you're saying, I want to do this. I don't know how to do it all the way yet, but here are my ideas. I'm asking for help from my broader community to realize this impossible, amazing dream and make it into a reality. We are actually in a very exciting time, and as women in tech, where people are really reaching out to each other. We want to help each other, and this is an awesome time to be in tech as a woman, sharing your voice, representing women, representing other identity groups that each of us might belong to.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, some other things that I think that would be really helpful for anyone listening in if they wanted to get started on this path. I think the most important things that you can do are things that we actually already talked about. So first, like, try to just reach out. So like send emails to people, try to get as many opportunities as you can. And then the other thing I would say is that if you're interested in computer science and technology, there are just so many resources and communities like already available to you online. So you can easily like open up your laptop and then go to like MIT OpenCourseWare or Khan Academy or whatever it may be, and you can start learning yourself, as well as joining communities like Girls Who Code or Project CS Girls. And that'll help you like get started on your journey and find out like if you're really interested in it and what next steps you can take as well. Tanya, do you have any advice for like young girls listening in as well? Because you're much further along in this career path. So do you have any other insights?
I think I shared some of my broader, core messages around dreaming big, around continuing to upskill. I say this to young girls, I say it to people who are mid-career, I say it to myself every single day, is, continuing to upskill and in some ways, owning the discomfort of not knowing everything before you raise your hand, because we as women, we want to first have like 120% of the requirements for any job, any project before we will even raise our hand. Don't wait so long. See what you know, take stock of what you don't know, raise your hand and say, these are the things I know, and these are the things that I will absolutely be able to learn, because my goal is to do this amazing thing. And network with each other, reach out to people who are a step or two ahead of you in the career path, or reach out to people who are 20 years ahead of you in the career path. I have heard other speakers say this earlier in this lovely event, that one thing, very concrete thing that you can do before this event ends is actually connect with one or two speakers that have presented, because now you have a common thread. You can say, I listened to your talk and this is what I thought of something that you said, or this is what resonated with me. So build that relationship, I would say. So Kavya, actually, there is a question that I have always, wanted to ask you. You, from the very beginning, when you joined Affectiva and, in the intervening time, I have seen you as a leader, and I have seen you as a leader who's generous. So would you comment on that? How can an emerging leader be generous?
I think the most important thing, no matter what group you're leading or whatever it may be, is to take into account what the other group members are feeling and what they need. So, for example, like in the Girls Who Code club that I'm leading, there are plenty of girls that are coming in without any experience at all, but the goal of the club is to get them to a point where they're confident in their skills and where they can go out and be like, yes, I do know computer science. And in order to do that, we have to see what they need. So in my case, I was starting with a very basic programming language like Scratch, and just building up the necessary skills that they need. So just talking about the logic behind any code that they're building, or giving them practical applications and demos, just so that they'll be able to understand what the impact of what they're doing is.
And would you say that one aspect of being a leader and embodying generosity is both sharing skills, but also giving people a platform, right? Somewhere where they can stand up and really own the work that they have done, where they can be appreciated for what they have done. Did you find that in your past experiences, whether at Affectiva or elsewhere, having a platform where you could be seen, where you could take pride in your work, helped you, either in doing better work or being more confident the next time?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I know at Affectiva specifically, we had the mid-summer presentation as well as the final presentation. And I also spoke at the summit about the same project. And I mean, this is just from my perspective, but I think like the way that I presented from the final presentation in the summer to the summit, like, improved a lot. And that was because I knew that there were people watching, like, from everywhere the second time. And so I wanted to leave a good impression and show that like the work that I did was important. And so giving a platform like that really helps people take pride in their work and own it and be like, this is what I did and this is why it's important. And I think that's a really important like thing to have, and it'll help build up the skills for people as well. All right, Tanya, so we're running a little short on time. So I know you said that you had one really interesting announcement, and I'm really excited to hear what it is, because you kept me in the dark about it.
Yes, so this truly is exciting, and this is an announcement that I'm making on behalf of my company, Affectiva. Starting June 29th, we will be launching a student engagement program that is 5 weeks long. Anyone from a high school junior to a senior in college can be part of this program. And if you're in graduate school and you want to be involved, you should still connect with us, because we want you as mentors. We need lots and lots of mentors for this program. So in this program, it will have 2 parts. In the first part will be a lot of self-learning with mentors coming alongside to help our trainees learn. And in the second phase, you are actually going to take, again, all of that learning and build a project. You, again, with assistance and mentoring from Affectiva internal and external mentors. And on the last day, you're going to showcase your work. So it's a very exciting program. It's going to be 5 weeks long, and it's going to start on June 29th. So if you're interested in that program, I want you to email empath, EMPATH 2020 at affectiva.com. Again, I will post this to my social media channels on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. We will have much more material about this in the next couple weeks on Affectiva's website, affectiva.com. So I am hoping to hear from many of you, and really looking forward to a really fun, exciting summer of building technology with all of you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Tanya. And thank you, Kavya, as well, for being such an amazing STEM advocate and sharing with us all today the work that you've been doing with Tanya and the role mentorship plays in really advancing not only girls' education, but I think girls globally as well. And I think some of the tips you shared are really wonderful. And I'm sure everyone listening in will be sure to use them in the future. So thanks again for joining me.